Box. He could be a Chad. Ever had one of those nights you think you'll remember forever until you realize you won't forget it because it's seared into your memory box. That was our anniversary trip to the Stanley Hotel. We thought we'd booked a night of charm history, maybe a little mystery. What we got was something else entirely. Something chilling. Something we'll never shake. It started harmless enough. We'd seen the hotel in pictures, tucked away in the Rockies, with snow-capped peaks and old-world charm. And everyone loves a good ghost story, right? We laughed about it in the car on the way there. We'd heard about the haunted room, room 2017. I guess we were the skeptical types because we decided that was the room we wanted. If there was a ghost, let's have her come out and say hello. As soon as we stepped inside, he thought the room felt wrong. There was this, I don't even know how to describe it, a heaviness, like someone was already there watching, waiting. The air was thick and cold, like walking into a refrigerator, only no air conditioning was on. But we were there to celebrate, to have a good time, so we laughed it off, unpacked, and got ready for bed. And that's when the real horror began. It was sometime past midnight when I first felt it. The bed felt like it was sinking, like someone else had climbed in with us. I opened my eyes, and for a split second I swear I saw a shadow at the end of the bed. A shape almost standing there, still and silent. I blinked, and it was gone. I figured maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. But my wife, she was wide awake, clutching the blanket, her face pale. "Did you see that?" she whispered. We didn't even get a chance to answer each other, because that's when we heard it. A soft, low murmur. Words that almost sounded like they were in another language. Drifting from the rooms, surrounded us. We both froze, barely daring to breathe. It was like someone was right there with us, whispering in our ears, but no one was there. Then, the light started flickering. It wasn't just dimming like an old bulb. It was pulsing in and out, like it was breathing with us. Every time the light faded, those whispers grew louder and closer. It was almost like a chant. I can still hear it in my head, a word that sounded like leave. And then the bed started moving. The covers were being pulled, not gently, but with force, like something unseen was trying to yank off of us. I hung on to them, feeling this tugging sensation, a strength as stronger than a person could be. My wife grabbed my arm, squeezing so tight it hurt. But I knew if you let go of that blanket, we'd see something we couldn't unsee. And that's when she showed herself. There, standing at the foot of the bed, was a woman. She was pale, dressed in an old-fashioned maid's uniform, her eyes hollow, empty. She just stood there, staring at us, her expression blank but somehow angry, like we had no right to be there, her presence. I felt her cold gaze on me. She never left. She stayed watching, waiting for people like us. We checked out that morning without a second thought. We didn't even look back to tell as we drove away. And even now, as I'm telling you this, I can feel it. Her eye chill are on me. So, if you're ever in Colorado and happen to find yourself at the Stanley Known, don't make our mistake. Don't book room 217, because some things aren't meant to be disturbed. Some ghosts aren't just stories. Some of them are waiting on the other side. I'm Sarah, just a girl with a passion for exploring places with a past. And this time, I chose the Crescent Hotel in Eureka, Sprickensa. People say it's got beauty, it's got history, and something more, something that isn't exactly advertised on their brochures. But at that time, I didn't know it, corner by corner. That's when I stumbled upon this lounge, a hidden gem tucked away, where a few guests were chatting in low voices. And there, low was a man who seemed like he'd stepped out of a time capsule, Mr. Thompson. He had this old-fashioned suit on, perfectly tailored, and a failure that felt both magnetic and unnerving. His eyes caught mine, and for a moment, I felt frozen. He greeted me with this knowing smile, as if he'd seen through me in a single glance. The others around him barely seemed to notice the strange tension in the air, but I did. And I'll admit it, part of me was drawn to him. I felt that urge to listen to whatever he had to say, to understand the secrets he seemed to carry. We talked, and he told me about the hotel's past. Its days as a hospital during the Civil War, and the countless lives that passed through its doors. His words had a way of weaving. He's one of, or has my fate been sealed just like his? When Emily arrived at Old Mill Inn, the sun was setting over the quiet cobblestone. Each time she reached for the light, the room was empty, silent, but thick with that unnerving, invisible presence. Her heartbeat quickened, and she told herself it was just shadows playing tricks on her mind. Yet, the feeling grew stronger, more insistent with each passing moment. As dawn crept closer, a faint sound disturbed her restless sleep. Footsteps, soft, deliberate, paced the hallway outside her door, moving back as if someone was controlling. She held her breath, her ears straining to catch every step, but then silence. The footsteps stopped. It was as if whoever, or was up there, knew she was listening, box, and paused just to taunt her with that eerie, suffocating quiet. She lay frozen, gripped by a bone-chilling realization she was alone in the end, box. Miles away from the familiar safety of her own home, Emily was isolated, trapped in the heart of something dark and unknowable. As the first light of dark finally broke, box, Emily scrambled to pack her belongings, her hands shaking, her mind reeling. What had been a peaceful retreat had transformed into an editor's prison, box, its warm facade giving way to something malevolent and unseen. As she left, her heart still pounding, she couldn't shake the eerie sense that something, or someone, was watching her leave, box, as though letting her go but not letting her forget. The shadows, the whispers, the footsteps. All of it would stay with her, haunting my eye after she left Old Mill End. She would carry that night as a chilling reminder that sometimes the things we think are imaginary are the things we should fear to boast. So, picture this, it's been a long day of exploring an ancient city, full of winding streets and hidden courtyards, the kind of place that makes you feel like you've stepped back in time. And here I am, finally back in my hotel room, a charming vintage place with enough creaky wood and old wallpaper to feel like it's got stories to tell. I thought, perfect, I'll just order a little something, relax and recharge. As I'm lounging, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, there's this gentle knock at the door. Room service. Finally, the late-night snack I've been craving. I get up excited and pull the door open, ready to dive into a sandwich or whatever. But when I look up, I freeze. Standing there, not quite touching the floor, is a translucent figure. A ghost, clear as day in an old-fashioned bellop uniform complete with a bowtie, holding a tray with my sandwich and soda. I blink, Maybe I've won too many drinks tonight. I mutter, thanks, hoping the apparition would vanish. But the ghost just nods, his expression calm, even a bit amused. He holds out the tray, floating it towards me. My fingers brushes for a moment as I take it, and I get this weird electric chill. Yep, I am definitely not dreaming. In a moment of nervous laughter, I try to lighten the mood. So, do you work here often? I joke, trying to engage my unexpected guest. He doesn't answer. He can be a chatterbox, but there's a flicker of something in his eyes, almost like a smile, if ghosts can even do that. The silence hangs thick as I take a bite of the sandwich, trying to ignore the fact that I'm, eating while a ghost stares at me. Gluten-free, right? I'm on a diet, I say, making light though my heartbeat is pounding in my ears. The ghost just floats there, watching, listening as I babble about my travels, all the while just existing, like this was just another night on the job. But then I start to notice it. The temperature in the room has dropped to a bone-chilling cold. And the lights overhead are starting to flicker in this rhythmic, unnerving way. My smile fades as the realization settles in. I'm not talking to some eccentric hotel staff member. I'm having a full-blown conversation with a ghost. I laugh, a bit breathless, hoping to diffuse my own nerves. Wait, you're not real, are you? I manage to say, forcing a grin even as my hands are shaking. The ghost tilts his head, a silent answer in his gaze, and I suddenly feel like a child again, trying to reason my way out of a nightmare. In that moment, though, I realize something. Here I am, alone in a city where no one knows my name, having midnight room service with a ghost. And instead of fear, I feel entertained, alive, even. I nod at my phantom server and chuckle. This is definitely going to be a story to remember. As he fades into the shadows, leaving me alone in the flickering light and cold air, I take a deep breath. Somehow, this bizarre, surreal encounter has turned into one of the best travel memories of my life. A reminder that sometimes, the strangest experiences make the best stories. I should have been suspicious the moment I saw the room numbered room 666. But that's me, Mark the thrill seeker, always looking for that next adrenaline hit. I figured, what's the harm? Just a room with a spooky reputation. Let's see what's really in there. As I checked in, the receptionist gave me a knowing smile and joked, just don't let the ghost bite. I brushing it off. To me, this was all just hype, a fun story I could tell my friends later. When I walked into the room, the air was thick, almost heavy, like it had a mind of its own. The dim light cast strange, wavering shadows across the antique furniture, and I felt this odd thrill in my chest. I thought, perfect, this will make for a killer live stream. I snapped a few selfies, set up my phone, and with a grin, I started recording. Here I am, the skeptic in room 66. Ghosts? Nah, I'm here to prove they don't exist. I laughed, genuinely entertained by the absurdity of it all. As the night wore on, I kept the vibe lighthearted. He making jokes about every creak and flicker. Old building quirks, I told myself, not supernatural. But then, around midnight, something shifted. The light dimmed almost imperceptibly, and a chill swept through the room, prickling my skin. My laughs died down. That's when I heard it. A faint whisper, so soft I almost thought I imagined it. Alright, this is getting a little creepy, I murmured, more to myself than to my viewers. I turned on my phone's flashlight, letting the beam cut through the darkness, casting weird, jittery shadows across the peeling wallpaper. I noticed something odd at the shadows. They didn't move with the light, they moved on their own, stretching and bending in ways that made my stomach drop. Without warning, the door slammed shut, echoing like a gunshot. My heart leaped in my throat as I whipped around, laughter giving way to real fear. Okay, that's not funny, I shouted, trying to keep my voice steady. I rushed to the door, but no matter how much I yanked, it wouldn't budge. I was locked in. The whispers grew louder, no longer just echoes but words, twisted and ghostly. I strained to understand, catching fragments that sound like warnings. My skin crawled, and the thrill I had felt turned to cold, raw terror. The room felt alive, pulsing with energy, as if it was breathing, watching me with some dark satisfaction. I banged on the door, desperate now, my bravado shattered. My mind raced with all the people who had stayed in room 666 before me. The legends, the stories I'd laughed at. I could feel their presence, like shadows pressed into the walls, whispering to me, warning me of the same fate. Finally, with one last frantic pull, the door gave way and I burst out, stumbling into the hallway. I didn't stop running until I was outside the hotel, gulping the cool night air. I laughed, but it was a hollow, shaky laugh, one that knew the truth. He had come to this haunted hell to debunk a legend, only to become part of it. Now, I have my own ghost story, a real one. And believe me, I'll never look at an old creaky room the same way again. He can be a chatterbox. As we wrap our journey through the chilling tales of this hotel, we hope you found these stories as captivating and eerie as we did. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into the world of horror, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. That way you'll stay up to date with our latest content. Filled with more spine-tingling tales and unsettling experiences that will leave you holding your breath. Don't forget to like this video and share it with other horror enthusiasts who appreciate the thrill of fear. Your support helps us continue to bring your stories that send shivers down your spine and keep the spirit of horror alive. Whether you're a seasoned ghost hunter or simply someone who loves a thrilling story, there's always something new to uncover in the unknown. Thank you for joining us on this strange journey. We look forward to sharing more chilling stories with you in the future. Stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, the next time you check into a hotel, you might just be sharing your room with more than just your luggage.